Hi guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel. So for today's video, I'm going to be doing a full in-depth face foundation base routine, including my bronzer, my blush, my highlight, my foundation, and all that stuff. I'm also going to be sharing a few of my different favorite foundations and concealers with you guys and just some of the techniques that I use to apply. So if you guys are interested in seeing how I got this beautiful skin right here, then just please stay tuned. Okay, so I have normal to dry skin, and I wanted to show you guys a few different foundations that work for me depending on my mood and the day, and like the eye makeup I'm wearing is very like heavily dependent on what foundation I'm going to be using. Okay, so the first one is the Natural Radiant Longwear Foundation by NARS, and I am in the shade Barcelona. I by far wear this one probably the most out of all the foundations I use, just because I feel like with my main goal with wearing foundation in general is to just have like healthy looking even skin. So like I never really worry about having like too full of coverage. I always kind of like shear this one down. I don't use that much of it, I feel like, so it just makes my skin look super healthy and glowy, and like it evens out my skin tone, and it just makes me look like my skin but better kind of. And it does wear really long. I like that. And since I do have skin on the drier side, it really like moisturizes my skin. It doesn't make me feel dry. It doesn't cling to any dry patches or anything like that. So this one is by far like my favorite, I think, just because I wear it the most. And I feel like this one matches my skin probably the best out of all the foundations I have. And the shade range on this foundation is really good as well. So okay, so the next one is the LA Colors Truly Matte High Pigment Foundation, and I was so surprised by this foundation. One, because it's from LA Colors and it's literally so affordable. I don't know exactly how much it costs, but I'm going to put all of the prices for how much each of these foundation costs on the screen while I mention them. But it's so affordable, and I was honestly shocked because this one describes itself as a truly matte, and I've never really had a good experience with a foundation that describes itself as matte, just because as I said, like I do have drier skin. But I always prep my skin the same with no matter what foundation I'm wearing. I use a lot of serums and oils and moisturizers, so my skin is very like hydrated before I apply any foundation. So I feel like that's why this does work for me. But this is definitely a foundation I'm going to wear when I need very full coverage and I need it to last like super long. For example, this is a foundation I'm gonna wear if I'm going to like a concert and I'm gonna be like in a mosh pit and I'm gonna be out super late and I'm gonna be like super hot and I might sweat. This foundation holds up really well. The coverage is beautiful, and it's just honestly one of my favorites. I reach for this one a lot, only though when I need more coverage, or I reach for this one when I'm wearing like a crazy eye makeup or something like that, where I need the coverage in my face to be fuller so that it doesn't look kind of weird when I have like more natural looking skin with like a crazy eye makeup, if that makes sense. So I would definitely recommend this one. And in the LA Colors, I am in the shade Soft Beige. And then last but not least, this is the Maybelline Superstay Foundation, and I am in the shade 310 Sun Beige. I feel like if the last two foundations I mentioned, these two, had a baby, it would be this one, because I feel like this one has really good coverage, but it is a lot more like luminous to me. I don't know why. I feel like it's just because of how I prep my skin as to why, because I feel like for some other people, this is a lot more like on the matte side. But again, since I prep my skin with so many oils and moisture, I feel like this comes off to me as more of like a luminous foundation when I prep my skin. So that's just me personally. But I feel like when it comes to like coverage wise, I would go this one as the lightest coverage, and then this one like in the middle, and then the LA Colors by far has like the most coverage in my opinion. So yeah, those are like my top 3 foundations as of right now, and let's get started. Okay, so for primer today, because I like to do 2 kind of preps before my foundation. I do my normal skincare routine, which includes like my serums and my oil and moisturizer and SPF and all that stuff. And then after all of that settles in, I like to go in with my primers. So this one is the Make Moonlight Primer, and I use this one all over the face, kind of like as an overall base. It kind of gets my skin a little bit more tacky and helps the foundation just kind of stick to my face better. And then next I go in with the Urban Decay Optical Illusion Complexion Primer, and I really like this one for filling any pores on my face, and it really smooths out the skin. So I like to use that in my T-zone. So the Urban Decay Primer, I really like it because it really just smooths out the skin, but it's not like crazy pore filling like the Benefit Professional or the One Smashbox Primer. It's definitely more on the lighter side, so I don't really like to put too much like pore filling primers in my T-zone. So I really like this one just because it kind of smooths the skin out and blurs my pores, but it's not like anything crazy. Okay, so once again, this is the shade Barcelona from NARS, and I literally just do 1 pump on each side of my face, and I always start off with a brush first. This is the Morphe Y6, and I like to just kind of buff it around and I feel like I can make like 2 pumps go a really long way. So I like to see how far I can get the 2 pumps first, and then I'll add more if I need it. So that 1 pump like pretty much covered this entire like half of my face, and I really like it because since I put the primer on and my skin is so moisturized, it kind of mixes with the oils and moisturizer on my face, and it definitely shears out a little bit more. But I really like that just because it gives me more of like a natural coverage. Also, another thing that I used to mess up on so much is I would kind of just go down my nose like this, but I would always miss this inner portion of like my nose bridge and the inner corner of my eye, if that makes sense. And when I would do my eyeshadow, it would be like there's no coverage like in this little area. And I don't really put enough concealer on my eyes to prep for eyeshadow that really gives this inner corner here the coverage it needs. So I like to always bring my brush in like that inner corner and just wiggle it and really just get as much product as I can in there, because I used to always forget, and I kind of learned my lesson now. Okay, so for concealer, I use like 3 different kinds interchangeably. The first one is the Tarte Shape Tape, and I use this one definitely on my more like heavier coverage days. I even use it sometimes just sparingly, like on a day where I'm wearing like more natural makeup, but I definitely would use this more on like a full coverage day, and this is the shade Light Neutral. I usually like to go pretty light with my concealer underneath my eyes just because I really like that brightening effect. So this is in the shade Light Neutral for the Tarte Shape Tape. The other concealer I like to use is the Maybelline Fit Me Concealer. I use the shades 20 and 25, and I really like this concealer because I feel like it works really well on days where you just want to spot conceal, or you just want to conceal underneath your eyes, or you can wear it on top of foundation and build up the coverage to how much you want. So I really like this concealer. So I think I'm going to go in with the Maybelline Fit Me Concealer today. As I said, I wanted something today a little bit more natural. So I like to go in with 2 shades just because I'm all out of the shade 20, which is normally my under eye shade. This is the shade 25, and I'm going to put this underneath my eyes kind of like as a mixer. And I'm going to go in with shade 10, which is like crazy light, but when I mix both of these together, it's not too bad. But that is shade 25, and I'm going to go in with shade 10, and this one is so much lighter, but when I mix the two, it ends up looking like pretty much the same as shade 20. I just really put this one like really up where the most darkness is on my under eyes. Okay, so I'm going to go in with my damp beauty sponge, and I'm going to just start blending this out. I like to start at the bottom where I put the darker shade, and then I like to work my way up. And then I'll just take the rest of the product, since there's not that much on my sponge, and I just kind of go like around my mouth area, just because I do have a lot of discoloration around my mouth. So I'll use like any other concealer left on the sponge to kind of put down here. Okay, so now we're gonna set the under eyes. I already did this eye, but I'm gonna show you kind of what I do because I have like a 2-step routine to setting my under eyes. It's like so extra, I know. But I go in with a pressed powder first. This is the LA Colors Translucent Setting Powder. And I talked about this a little bit in my last video. I kind of explained it as a preset, just to make sure like it doesn't crease at all. Like it works really well for my skin type. So it's just like what I've been doing. I like to go in first and blend my under eyes out just to make sure that there's no creasing. And then I go in with the pressed powder on this brush, and I like to lightly set it. So this is like my preset. Make sure there's no creasing, and then it gives me a lot more time to get my baking powder ready, bake my under eyes and stuff like that. And then after I do that preset, I go in with the Makeup Obsession Pure Bake Banana Baking Powder, and I use that on a dry beauty sponge, and I literally just press it where I need it the most. I don't bake my whole under eyes with this powder just because it is a lot more heavy, and I do find that if I leave it on for too long, it kind of just really dries out my under eyes and it looks kind of really cakey. So I use this powder very sparingly, but it works so well. So with setting the NARS foundation, it is more of like a luminous foundation. So if you don't set the entire face, you can kind of get that like sticky feeling, like it's not fully set. So I definitely like to go in like everywhere I put that foundation with this pressed powder. Just make sure that it kind of gets rid of all that sticky feeling. Oh, also, I completely forgot, I also like to bake my smile lines just for a little bit, just because they really like crease bad throughout the day. And I just like do that. Okay, so it's been like not even like a full minute, and I'm already gonna wipe this away just because that's all my skin really needs. and then my skin just looks so good. No creasing. It's like really just like set, like it's not gonna go anywhere. Okay, so now that my face is set, we're looking very just like flat, just one color all over the face. I need to add back a little bit more life and dimension to my face, so we're gonna go in with bronzer. Okay, so the first one is the LA Color bronzers. I use two different shades. This one right here is the shade Tanned, and it's a lot more like darker and cool toned, and I'll use this one for more of like a contour, and then the shade Spice I use like all over for like just a normal bronze. And then the other product I really like to use is the Tarte Park Avenue Princess palette, and this one's really nice because there's a bunch of different shades, like matte ones, shimmer ones, and then two like highlight shades as well to like clean up the contour and stuff like that. So today I think I'm gonna go in with this one just because this, like, that's what I'm feeling. Okay, so I'm gonna go in with the shade Angle first for my bronzer, and I'm just gonna start bronzing up the skin. So I think I'm just gonna go in with that one shade today just because I want my skin to look a little bit more natural, nothing like super chiseled or crazy. So now I'm gonna go in and mix the two highlight shades in here, and I'm gonna kind of focus on cleaning up this area down here, just kind of rounding this out because I love the way that my cheekbones look when I round out this area versus like doing like this straight line down. I feel like it just looks so much more natural and makes my cheeks kind of look a little bit more like plump, if that makes sense. Okay, so next is blush, which is like literally my favorite part. This is the Makeup Obsession Isn't It Peachy palette. I'm gonna go in and mix these two shades and just like go in. Okay, so last but not least is highlighter. This is the Summer Haze highlighter from Artist Couture, and this is such a beautiful color. But before I put any highlighter on, I want to set my face and kind of get all the powders to settle in and stuff like that. So what I'm going to do is go in with the Makeup Obsession Fix It Extra Hold Makeup Setting Spray, and I like to keep my damp beauty sponge on hand, and I'm going to spray my face. And then I like to go in immediately after and just press that in, like nothing crazy. I just want to make sure that all the powder is like really just melted in my skin, and I feel like this makes it look like the most natural. And then I like to go in with my fan that matches my robe, and I like to fan my face just to make it dry a little bit quicker because I'm impatient. Okay, so for my highlighter, I'm going to go in with a bigger brush than normal. This is something I started doing and I really like the way it looks. So I just load my brush up, and then what I'm going to do is not like really like go in like this. I'm just going to look where I can really see my cheekbone. I'm going to place it and just kind of pull back like that. And I feel like it gives me such a natural glow. It's nothing like crazy, and I think it looks so beautiful when you just kind of like pull it over the entire cheek. And then I kind of pull it and make like a C. I think that looks so pretty. It's definitely not as like precise, but I really like that for some reason of just what I've been doing lately. Okay, so that is pretty much my entire base routine. I'm gonna go finish up my makeup real quick, and then I will be right back. Okay, so I'm back. I finished my makeup, and I am like feeling myself so hard. I don't know why, but the makeup I just did, even though it's like so simple, I'm like so in love with it. So I actually have never done this before. I pretty much just went straight in with pretty much every blush shade in here for my eyes today. I went in with Bloom first, Daydream to blend it out, and then I went with Glimmer all over the lid, and it looks so just like summery, and it ties in obviously with my cheeks because I'm wearing the same blush, and I just feel like it looks so good. And then today for lips, I went in with the NYX Suede Lip Liner in the shade Soft Spoken, which is crazy because I usually never like change up my lip combo like ever, but I was like, maybe I'll go for something a little bit more like on the pinker side, and it just ties in with the eyes even more, and I feel like it looks so good. And then I topped it off with the Supernova Lip Shine in the shade Halo from Deck of Scarlet. This is their new lip gloss, and I just think it looks so good, and my skin looks so like natural, and I just think it looks absolutely beautiful. Okay guys, so that is it for this YouTube video. Thank you guys so much for taking the time out of your day to watch this YouTube video today. If you guys enjoyed, please leave a like and subscribe if you haven't already. Also follow my Instagram. I will put that somewhere on the screen, and hopefully I will see you guys in my next video. Bye you guys.